back to American Girl Collectors. Today we're going to be doing another fun do-it-yourself project. Today we're going to be looking at the activity kit that's called Doll Star from American Girl. These are some items that come with it, but let's get into it and see what it looks like. On the front it says Doll Star, create lots of ways to play on stage. So let's turn it over. On the side is just the standard box where it says the American Girl watermark logo and it says Doll Star. On the back it shows pictures of what's to come in the book and what we will look forward to doing. It also lists all the stuff that comes in the activity kit. I've already opened this up and done a few DIYs, but some of them are scattered here on the table, but the other ones are in the kit, so let's open it up. Here is the book we're going to be looking at. We're going to do the same thing as we always do, the first page of the activity kit. In here, there were some pop-outs that I've already popped out. These were one to make a guitar. And then here were some other pop-outs of book covers that were actually these ones. And then here we have, I think, another guitar to make. It came with many musical instruments. Here is another pop-out one. These were the top parts of the guitars, and then there are some I still haven't popped out. This is actually an activity to make this. If you pop it out, roll it up, it looks like that. Cheerleaders use this mainly, or some when they want to say like action, they shout into that. This was to make an acoustic guitar, and here is actually the things that it came with, but I have a lot of the other pieces. So let's go ahead and see what the first DIY is. It says the same thing it says on the cover, Doll Star, create lots of ways to play on stage. Then it says it has a little girl here, and it looks like she's holding some things that happen in the book. Here it says, Dear Doll Lover, and it's sort of an introduction of what you will expect in the book. Here, like all the activity kits, it comes with instructions on how to properly do a DIY project and how to keep your doll away from paints and glues, and if you need to ask an adult for help, that sort of stuff. So this one looks like it's going to be lots of fun. I had already done stop motions before where my dolls had a band and it was called 6 Rock Stars. I had used 6 dolls at that time, but I had DIY'd a drum set, amps, guitars, that sort of stuff, microphone stands. But because that was back in 2017 and now it's 2020, I managed to keep the guitars, but I'm going to go ahead and redo the amp and the microphone stand, and I guess we'll go from there. So here are the 3 guitars that I DIY'd. I showed you in the pop-outs that they had these pieces of shiny cardstock and you had to build it together. So what I had done was I made the 3 of them. I had taped the top part and the bottom together, but to make it a bit more sturdy, I added construction paper on the back of the guitars. And of course the guitars need a strap to hold onto the doll. So I had just used some fancy fabric that had ballerinas on it, so that, as you can see here, it would strap over their shoulder. Then I also thought it would be fun. I had this old earbuds that didn't work anymore, and since they weren't working, I cut the wire and I attached it to the guitars just to make it look a bit more realistic, because guitars do have wires sticking out of them. So that pretty much covers the first one where it says electric guitars use cardstock, sequins, ribbon, beads, whatever you need. And there's one and there's the other. So I guess I sort of did an alright job with those 2. Now let's go ahead and do the headset microphone. So here she's wearing one in her ear. It looks a lot like Joss Kendrick's hearing aid, but they also had a stand where it holds the microphone. We're going to do that DIY. And then there's also another drums that we can do, and amp. I have those materials there. This video may take a while, but I'm going to go ahead and try to summarize it as quickly as I can. So now that we've looked at the guitars, let's go ahead and do the microphone. Alright, so considering I had made this DIY project before, I sort of had an idea on how to do it again this time. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you everything that I've made. Next it says microphone. I thought I would make a standing microphone because if the dolls are singing, then they would probably want a microphone. If it is too short, you can go ahead and add. The way I did it in the stop motion was that I had a box and then I put some sort of blanket or carpet or a rug on top of the box, and that way the microphone was just as tall as the 18-inch doll. This is how I made the microphone. This toy microphone was actually from a My Life As kit. You could make your own. It's very easy. You just could, I guess, get a cotton swab and make it black to look like a microphone with some gray. But this was already a My Life As one that I had. This is called a milkshake straw. It's not like regular straws. The regular ones are thinner. This one is a bit thicker, so I decided to use this one. If you don't have a milkshake straw, you can add 2 straws or even 3 and tape them together to make it sturdy. This little part at the bottom is actually from a tape roll. When this tape finishes, it's sort of just like empty. And you could take it out, and that's how it looks like. I wrapped it in some sort of like glittery foam to hold it, and then I used glue gun to attach it to. it. And then over here I got some cardboard. As you could tell, I made a few of these pieces. I'm going to tell you how many you're going to need, but for the microphone you only need one. The size that I used was one of these plastic cups. I got the cardboard, put it on top, traced it around and cut it out. Then I had wrapped it with some really nice wrapping paper that has stars all over it so that it looks good and the dolls can use it. The next DIY is drums. This one was a bit trickier. As you can tell, there's a drum lying down and 2 standing up, and then one that's sort of just flat and not as big as the other ones. This one is the thinner one, which would have been that. So the drumsticks are actually very easy. I just got 2 shish kebab skewers, or you can call them wooden dowsers, and I cut it in half, and then I cut it in half again to make 2. That way it looks about the same size as the doll's hand. So this one, tambourine or something like that, would be the smaller one. So I've taken the sticker off of here and I placed it on that one. The reason why I placed it on that one is because here it shows a bunch of different types of drums. 1 is on the floor and 2 are standing up. So it really depends on how you want your doll to play the drums. This one is standing up, so is this one. It's just facing differently. This one is facing upward, this one is facing forward. And this one could either be lying down and make it standing up. Once we get the doll to sit in a chair and place all the drum pieces around it, it'll look like this picture. If you're wondering how I made the drums, I'm going to go ahead and try to explain it. So for the frame of the drums, as you can see, it is made of red, which would have been this cup, this red cup. What I had done was I had cut it into different parts. For this small one, I just used this bottom bit of the cup. For that one, I had to cut the cup in half. And those 2, I also used another half. So I pretty much used 2 cups. Once I had shaped all the cups into the sizes I needed to close them off on all sides. Again, I used cardboard and I had traced with the size of the cup onto the cardboard. I cut out a few of these. I had cut out 1 bit over here, 2 bits, which is now 3, 2 more, which would be 5, and then 2 more, which would be 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 circles is what you're going to need. And because we had made the microphone before, that would have made 8. Once you have the circles, you're going to want to like glue it onto the cups. And then just with the scissors, shape it, as in like if I made like a big circle on the plastic cup, I just use the scissors to shape it to fit better. And then I wanted to make it look sort of like this type of drum set, and it's silver. So I had made a locker DIY the other day, and we had used the blue fabric, but on the other side it was silver. If you don't have this, you could use tin foil because it looks very much the same. And then I had covered all the cardboard parts with this paper. And then for the stand to hold the drum set up, I had used because I had finished the wrapping paper, so I ended up with this big roll, and this roll is pretty sturdy. I measured it by 4.5 inches because if the dolls were to be sitting down and you were to put blocks underneath the rug of your set, you can make the drum set as tall as you want, or even the microphone. But I figured 4.5 would be decent enough for the doll to be sitting down and play on the drums. I made 4 of these. I still had some of the roll left over. I made one for here, here, here. This one doesn't exactly need one because it is going to be lying down. But because it was sort of just empty, I thought that I would add an extra one. And then later, if I want it, I can make it standing up or leave it lying down. And once I had done that, I wanted to decorate the paper towel roll. So I used some more of this star wrapping paper, and I just spiraled it around. So that was the drum set. The amp is actually not as difficult as it seems. I had just a cracker box. You could use a cereal box, is a bit too big, but you could still use a cereal box. Nothing too small. If the box is smaller, it will look sort of just like a speaker, but I want to make it look like an amp. So I had used that wrapping paper. I just closed up the box, wrapped it up, and with yellow paper, I made some circles and some knobs over here with glitter foam, just to match the picture like it has here. So this was another big DIY project, and I guess we'll have more of those to come. I have done this before if you want to see the stop motion where my dolls were using it, 6 rock stars. I guess for now that's it.